life would be like for her sister Celia, having a mother who looked just like her, who loved and understood her because they shared the same DNA. But Celia says she grew up jealous of Sierra. Her sister was adopted and got to live with an upper middle class family in a nice house in the suburbs. She had 2 parents and a brother who loved her. Her family traveled the world and made a point to have dinners together every night. But Sierra says she always felt like Celia was the lucky one because she wasn't separated from her birth mother. Now, on the other hand, Celia says she doesn't feel lucky at all. She says her half-sister dodged a bullet because Claudia doesn't deserve to be called mother. Take a look.
I want absolutely nothing to do with Claudia. When I was living with Claudia, I lived off of like egg sandwiches and whatever food I could steal from the dollar store. Claudia would sit in her living room in her own filth. Sinks always full, kitchen garbage full and smelling. Claudia was very depressed.
My depression got worse and worse. And unfortunately, that manifested with me as a lot of anger.
Claudia told me that she wished she would have had an abortion. She told me to do her a favor and instead of getting on the bus for school, to get hit by it. Claudia has been violent with me multiple times. About 3 years ago, Claudia banged on my door at 3 a.m. wanting a cigarette, and the next thing I know, things are being thrown at my door.
I just started throwing everything that I could, pots and pans and dishes.
She's just throwing cast iron skillets at me.
She was so dismissive of how I felt, and that just set me off.
Claudia is so good at playing the victim. Claudia says things like, everybody hates me, nobody cares about me, I should just kill myself.
I always had feelings of total worthlessness.
Claudia will always apologize in tears.
I'm so sorry for the things that I've said and I've done.
Claudia never changes.
Okay, now, you haven't spoken to your mother in 2 years.
I have sent messages, but I haven't, actually had a conversation with her.
Okay, so why have the first face-to-face here today?
I don't think anything other than, her being in front of all of these people and their reactions. I feel like that will open her eyes.
She told you that she wished she had aborted you. Mm-hmm. Correct?
Correct.
She told you to just get hit by a bus.
Yeah, she's told me to do her a favor and get hit by a bus rather than get on it for school.
Okay. Don't get on the bus, get hit by it.
Do her a favor.
How old were you?
I was 16.
Now, Celia says she has no faith Claudia can ever change, but Claudia says she has no idea why her daughter is so mad at her, and that, in fact, she has changed. Take a look.
The last time I saw Celia was after she gave birth to her daughter. My father told me that Celia had the baby and that she was in the hospital, and also that I wasn't wanted there. This was the straw that broke the camel's back, and I mixed some bleach and ammonia together, and I was gonna drink it.
Claudia's been threatening all of us with suicide our whole lives. So this time, my grandma was like, we need to call the cops.
They took me to the same hospital that Celia was at.
I was infuriated that she did this. I walked in there and I was like, what the hell is wrong with you? Can I not have my first child in peace? And she is like, well, I was told that no one wants me here. And I'm like, because of this. This is the exact reason why you are not allowed in our lives.
I just started crying. Nobody was giving any consideration to the pain that I was going through.
I was so floored. Claudia made my first birthing experience all about her.
The depression is not an excuse that I use. It's a disability that I have been working on for 20 years. I have made a dramatic change.
Well, Celia has not seen her mother, Claudia, in 2 years. Come on out, Claudia. Claudia, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Have a seat. Why have you not seen her for 2 years?
She's forbidden me to see her.
Do you know why?
She had a rough childhood with me. I was very angry, very depressed, and unfortunately, she was the one who took the brunt of it.
What were you trying to do when you said, do me a favor and get hit by the bus?
I did not say that directly to her. I was in the shower and having an anxiety attack, and she overheard me say that.
You screamed it.
In the shower to myself while I was having an anxiety attack.
Okay, and that makes that okay.
It doesn't make it okay.
And you say you've seen her child without her permission.
My father would tell me when she was there, and I would come over and hug her and hold her and take pictures with her.
And post them on social media.
You saw the child without permission and then posted it on social media so you could rub it in her face. What did you expect her to do at that point?
I was looking for a reaction.
How childish is it to go behind her back, see it, and then post it on social media and go,
No, that wasn't.
Oh, that wasn't?
That wasn't the reason.
Oh,
that
really?
wasn't how I saw it.
Really? So you didn't think she would see that?
Well, she had me blocked, and I had it only friends could see it, so it wasn't like everybody was going to see it.
Yeah, well, how'd that work for you?
It didn't.
Yeah. So the day she's giving birth, you say you're going to commit suicide and go to the same hospital where she's in labor.
Okay, I didn't know which hospital she was in.
Well, here's the text that you sent to Paula, your twin sister.
Yeah.
Claudia, you say, did you get to see the baby? Paula, yes, last night. Claudia, I'm going to kill myself today. I'm sure you'll be relieved. Picture of bottles. Paula, the police are on the way. We cannot help you anymore. I hope that one day you are able to see that you have been loved all this time. Claudia, my sister and daughter hate me. What do I have to live for? Not one single thing. So your thought is, my gift to you on this most glorious day of having your child and starting your family is I'll burden you with my suicide.
My thought was I wanted to end this pain, and she doesn't want me around anyway, so she probably wouldn't care.
Coming up, Claudia says she doesn't know why her daughter she placed for adoption is even here today. Sierra will be here. She'll explain that when we come back.
My parents told me growing up, Claudia could reach out to me at any time. When I was 10, she had said that she wanted to build a relationship with me. It made me feel excited, but Claudia never made an attempt to see me.
Monday, her 2 older sons were murdered.
I just want them to come home.
Her 2 younger boys.
She has called them the worst sons in the world and not as handsome as the sons that she lost.
Say she's angry.
She picked up a hatchet and split my brother's phone in half.
And grieving.
The blood-soaked rug was still there at the campsite.
Why did you bring your 2 boys back to the site of the murder?
That's Monday. Then on Tuesday, what is going on?
You say you look like a monster.
With the women in his family.
I had anorexia.
Do you think you've modeled this for these 2?
That's Tuesday.
I got pregnant with Sierra about a year after I had Celia. I do not regret giving her up for adoption. I can't imagine how much worse she would be if she had been raised by me.
Sierra definitely dodged a bullet not having to grow up with Claudia.
Sierra says she tried to develop a relationship with her birth mother, but Claudia made it impossible.
I've known since I was young that I was adopted and that Claudia was my birth mother and Celia was my sister. I wondered why I just wasn't good enough to be with her and for her to raise me. I love my family, but I am African American and Hispanic. My skin color, my hair was different. My lips were always bigger than, all the other kids, and I got teased for that. I went through a lot of identity issues. My parents told me growing up that I had an open adoption and that Claudia could reach out to me at any time. When I was 10, she had said that she wanted to build a relationship with me. It made me feel excited. But Claudia never made an attempt to see me. I finally did see Claudia when I was 16, but it was by a complete accident. I was with my sister, and she happened to stop by our grandparents' house. Claudia walked in the house and saw me and walked right past, sat in the kitchen and cried.
I wasn't sure what to do, what to say. I felt totally ambushed. It was very unfair.
When she decided to leave, she said goodbye, and that was it. The last time I saw Claudia was 2 years ago. She cried again, and it was just awkward for me because my whole life it's been hard for me, and she just made it seem like she was the victim. She's always trying to compare or compete on who had a worse childhood. Everything is always about Claudia.
You haven't seen Sierra in 2 years either, right?
Right.
And so you're here today seeing her for the first time in 2 years.
Yep.
She said she doesn't even know why you're here, so I'll let you answer that question.
The adoption, you kept it open, obviously, but you have popped in and out when it was convenient for you, whether it hurt me or not, whether you promised to come to birthday parties, baby shower, my son's baby shower, my son's birth. You flaked on every single one of them.
You wanted to know why Sierra was part of this because you said, and I quote, "Sierra is not my priority." What do you mean by that?
That's out of context.
I'm not
That she is not.
Well, whoa. Put that in context
Okay.
then.
The reason why
I'd love to hear this.
The reason I was coming out here was to start a conversation with Celia. And this was a completely separate issue.
What do you say to that?
First of all, wow. I don't know. Now that I have my own child, the things that you have done and said and how you've popped in and out of my life, I could never. And just the simple fact that, you know, you promised all of these things and you always messaged me like, "Hey, baby, I missed you, I love you," and, you know, all of these things, and that you want to see me, and when it comes down to seeing me, it never happens. I can count on both hands, probably one hand, how many times I've seen you in my life.
Well, I wanted her to be here, actually, because you said that you've really worked hard and that you've changed, and I was really curious where your core values were and where your moral compass was and how you would relate to your daughter. I don't judge people that place a child for adoption. I think sometimes it's a very courageous thing to do. It's a very selfless thing to do. It's often a very wise thing to do. You had a different life than she did. You know, growing up, Celia says that she had to steal food to eat because Claudia sat in depression and wouldn't even shop. And you didn't live that life, right?
Right. I did not. But
so in many ways, it was a gift to you.
yes, now I see that. When I was pregnant with my son, I asked Claudia to come to my baby shower. Claudia ended up canceling. Claudia did meet my son when he was about 5 weeks old for about an hour.
I don't remember ever meeting Sierra's son. I've only ever seen photos, but I would love to.
I don't think Claudia has changed. It's just words. It's not actions.
Yeah, well, your twin sister is here. And I'd like to add her to this conversation as well, and maybe she can shed some light on this. You've been listening to everything that's said so far, right? I'm trying to figure out where we are and set some reasonable goals here as to whether or not there can be an adult-to-adult relationship between this mother and these adult children. What's your take on this situation?
Celia needs help to deal with the anger that she had from being raised with Claudia. She had a lot of, she's also very expressive, so she doesn't hold back. And I think the fact that Celia fighting back kind of triggers Claudia also. There's no holding back with Celia. And I think Claudia, because she never knew how to really effectively handle the way that she felt, Celia got the brunt of it.
So was your mother a vicious, mean woman?
No, my mother was very strict. And she had a very, I guess, very old-fashioned style, you know, and I guess shame was.
Claudia says she's just replicating her. With...
I don't see that. Traits, yes. Characteristics, yes, but not. I don't see the pattern of Claudia's mothering in comparison to my mother.
Well, here's what I'm saying. She's saying that she's having to steal food and clothes just to live and exist.
Yeah.
You described living with your mother being like living with the Cleavers.
Yeah. I felt like I lived
as in Beaver
home.
Cleaver.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that doesn't sound to me, I mean, I watched the Beav and I never saw them going out and stealing clothes and food to live.
No, they never did either. And that never, I mean, we never had to steal food. We never had to steal for our clothes or anything like that.
Well, that just seems like a disconnect to me, because I never heard the Beav say, gee, Wally, let's go steal some food.
Yeah.
And you're saying that it was strict, but
definitely
stable.
Strict, very
and
stable.
And you're saying that that's not at all.
That's why I say you can't compare the two. You cannot.
I think that her perception of the critique of the discipline, I think Claudia took a lot of criticism very personally, in a sense that she took it as maybe criticism she took as shame instead of being corrected. I'm not really, I can't say for sure, but she did feel a lot more like she wore her heart on her sleeve. Things that were said to her seemed to impact her more.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's a statement from your mom. She said, I know I was not the mom that Claudia now says she needed. I was strict, not as loving as I could have been. She said that I was full of rage. I was not.
That was the different perception that I had. I think the most of my problems with my parents came when I got pregnant with Celia.
Now, these women need a legitimate change agent to shake it up if they want their lives to be the best lives without the past haunting them. Well, we're going to talk about that next.
Kids who parents didn't show up for them, they often have a belief like, why am I not lovable? Mm-hmm. There's messages that we all tell ourselves. Mm-hmm. What are some of those messages you think you tell yourself?
Basically exactly what you just said. Why wasn't I good enough? Was I not loved? Was I not wanted?
And do you feel like that's still a place in your life today?
Celia and Sierra say they're done with their toxic mother, Claudia, and feel badly their Aunt Paula is stuck in the middle. So life coach and New York Times best-selling author of Best Self, Be You Only Better, Mike Baer met with the sisters and got to know their anti-selves. Take a look.
You're both moms. You want to be the best version of yourself for your child. Mm-hmm. Kids who parents didn't show up for them, they often have a belief like, why am I not lovable enough? Mm-hmm. There's messages that we all tell ourselves. Mm-hmm. What are some of those messages you think you tell yourself?
Basically exactly what you just said. Why wasn't I good enough? Was I not loved? Was I not wanted?
And do you feel like that's still a place in your life today?
Yeah, when it comes to like my love life, I struggle a lot.
You got it. So that's what I want you to write.
I think what I struggle with is maybe I'm like impatient. I catch myself like snapping on my boyfriend and it reminds me of her. Like I can feel like the way she is, sometimes it like wants to come out of me.
I want you to draw that and you're gonna name it.
I low-key love this exercise. I like how it's like making me think. Okay, that's it.
Thank you guys for doing this. We're going to sit down with Dr. Phil and analyze your drawings. It's important for parents to do this exercise with their children so they can see what's going on. And also it's important that they do it for themselves so that they can be the best parent they can be.
I'm excited.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Coach Mike, thanks for meeting with them and thanks for being here now. You have a concept that you've talked about in Best Self, Be You Only Better. One of the things you talk about is best self versus anti-self.
When you're your best self, you're being your authentic self or best authentic self. So we did that exercise.
Okay, and describe for people the anti-self.
So the anti-self is the characteristics that we think get in the way of being our best self.
You did it with Celia, and her best and anti-self was really past versus current.
Lucky is her best self, who, as you can see, is so loving, trusting, loyal, strong, rational. That's who she is at her core, and that's how she wants to be with her babies. And at first, she created her anti-self, which those characteristics were short fuse, snappy, aggressive, has trust issues. And we called that cacti. With her mother, what comes out is she ends up feeling so over it, annoyed, numb, infuriated. And the reason why we wanted to do this is we want to make sure that you don't pass down any of the legacy of, you know, kind of how you felt growing up.
Yeah.
All right, and you did the same thing with Sierra.
Yeah, so Sierra's best self is Mama Fierce, right? And I love sitting down with both of you, and you're such a lovable person. And so, you can feel it on you. And empathetic, energetic, loving, caring, funny, and this is how she wants to be with her son. And her anti-self, which really she named Eeyore, right? And not feeling loved, not feeling like people cared about her, and really carrying over from her childhood those characteristics that she felt her whole life. And she says even today, it affects her in her relationships.
What do you think of this exercise?
I really liked it. I felt like it was like peeling back layers.
Why do you think she's here today?
She's here because this is probably, I told her this was the only chance you were going to get to have a conversation with me.
And what do you want?
I would like to have a relationship with you, and with you also.
I can just jump in right here, okay? No one likes a pity party.
I know.
And you're at a pity party table for one. You're at a table for one. This is an empowered party.
Is it because I'm crying?
No, it's because I've seen how your reactions have been on stage, and you do this thing, and you may not be aware of it, but when you lead with poor as me, it doesn't connect with the other person. So my suggestion to you off the bat is pull it together. Be the mom that you want to be today. The past is the past.
That's right.
And we can't blame other people anymore. It's over. How your mom raised you is over. We have right now this moment.
Right.
And this is your moment to step up.
Yeah.
Okay?
Have you been wrong? No question about it. As long as you're angry with her, you're cheating your children out of all of their mother. Okay? Since you're putting on your coaching hat and jacket and coaching her, he's telling you exactly what you need to do. Let me do the same thing with you. Look, you're giving your power away to her. As long as you're angry with her, as long as you're bitter with her, you're cheating your children out of all of their mother.
Okay?
Not even God can change what has happened. The only time is now. And I have to say to you, when you forgive her, that doesn't mean what she did was okay. If you want your children to have 100% of their mother, then you need to decide that you're going to bury this hatchet for the past. Have you been wronged? No question about it. Did you get a fair shake as a child? Absolutely not. And I'm really sorry for that. I'm seriously sorry for that. That was then, this is now. And if you want your power back, take it back. And you want to be real careful to be a good steward of power and leverage. Okay. You have those grandchildren, that gives you great power and leverage over her. Don't be someone that abuses that and withholds those children from her. Do it in a safe way. Do it where, if you want it, for the time being, where you're there, where you can witness whether or not she is rational and saying the right things and not saying the wrong things. Both of you, if you want a relationship, do it step by step by step. and don't just jump in all the way. And you're good with that, right?
Yeah.
And that's all I'm saying. And I'm willing to get you help with this. So
it's going to take me some time. Like, no, I'm saying, like, I will need help with that because...
Oh, I understand. That's why I'm saying I'll get you some help with that. But you've got to set the goal and saying, the legacy stops now. Support each other and set some boundaries and move forward a step at a time. And you're willing to work on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I will get you help that will help you set those boundaries, draw what they should be, and how to take those steps forward. Both of you need that. Both of you deserve that. Fair enough?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. All right. We're going to take a break. Coming up, how parents can pay attention to their children so they don't miss some of these things. Coach Mike went to an elementary school, and you won't believe what the children revealed to their parents simply because he asked the questions that the parents weren't asking. And I want you guys to listen very closely to what we're getting ready to talk about. We'll be right back.
We're going to be doing the best self exercise with the 5th grade. Do you have any guesses what her characteristics of her anti-self would be, Denny?
Enlighten me.
I lock myself in the bathroom and don't eat for hours and hours.
Now, recently, Coach Mike sat down with a group of 10-year-olds to see what their best selves and anti-selves reveal.
We're at Elysian Elementary School, and we're going to be doing the best self exercise with the 5th grade.
My name is George and I'm kind, brave, funny, silly.
And we're going to be focused on their best self and also describing their anti-self.
Angry.
Okay, we got angry. Rhodes?
When I'm in my room, I'm like, nobody cares at all.
Cares about you.
Yeah.
And then we're going to do that same exercise with the parents, and I think they're going to be really surprised on what they learned. Denny and Bridget, thank you for doing the best self exercise. Well, do you have any guesses what her characteristics of her anti-self would be, Denny?
I have this idea of Bridget, like she's really great.
Yeah.
So enlighten me.
I stomp my feet and go to my room to scream into my pillow when I'm mad. And I lock myself in the bathroom and don't eat for hours and hours.
And what does your anti-self look like? Okay, so the anti-self, did you name her?
Devil.
Wow. When you say you don't eat for hours and hours, does that mean that you won't eat?
I got sad, and so I didn't eat my dinner.
It always blows my mind. This is not the kind of thing that I usually get to hear from her. I have more knowledge of who she is. So now I'm ready to help.
Why don't you start, Maria, with when you're not being your best self, what is it?
I feel sad, angry.
And what did you draw for your anti-self?
I drew a dark cloud.
Can you tell when mom is kind of in her dark cloud?
Yeah.
Your anti-self is your dark cloud. And his, when he's at his best, is a cloud with a rainbow. What does your mom do for you that makes you feel like this?
She talks to me in the right way. She respects me, and she would listen to me.
Let's describe your anti-self.
I get mad at myself and I say negative things. Like I say I don't like myself.
What's your anti-self name?
George the negative side.
So George the negative side, really small, and the quote, the bubble says, I don't like myself.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this?
If he doesn't see me strong, then he goes sad. I have to alert myself, see what I'm doing.
Not beat yourself up.
Correct.
We need to be loving to yourselves. So
yes.
May your best selves shine through as we leave here today. All right?
Yes.
Let's do this.
Those kids look tiny. You must look like Herman Munster when you come in here. He's bigger than I am. Rose's mother learned just how much her behavior was affecting her son. Take a look at this.
You both did the best self exercise.
Should I share my anti-self?
Share your anti-self.
So overwhelmed, negative, undependable, impatient, my little person was just blah.
And do you see this in your mom?
Yeah.
When this comes out?
A lot of the time. For instance, yesterday you were kind of like that when I was like, Mom, Mom, Mom. And then you're like, I can't, please, just let me think, okay?
Right.
And Rhodes anti-self, let's see.
Good for nothing, useless, horrible, evil, hurt. It's a shadow of who I really am.
It's very helpful because I feel like it's a clear picture to paint of how it makes him feel.
So do you think you could express this when you're feeling the shadow?
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
awesome because then I know it's coming and I can stop what I'm gonna do and I can rethink how I respond to things, you know?
Yeah.
Even just in a short session, we got a lot out of it. And now he can say, I'm feeling like I'm going to that shadowy place, and I know exactly what that means. So I think that's really huge.
It was really hard for me to say how I was feeling so people would understand when I'm mad. But now it's through this, it's easier. I thought Coach Mike was awesome.
Well, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Hug.
Thank you, Coach Mike. I know. I love you.
Love you too.
Wasn't it refreshing how forthcoming these children were?
Oh, it was unbelievable. I just want to say thank you so much. I think there's so grateful you allowed and encouraged and inspired me to go to these schools. I'm going to toot your own horn even though you didn't ask, but you're iconic. Like, you're the leader in mental health in a public way for over 17 years, and I just so deeply appreciate what you've done to raise awareness and to also allow me to go into school. So I just want to applaud you for
thank you. Actually, everyone's getting a lot out of Best Self and the anti-self exercise. Celia and Sierra and many of my other guests have done it. Musician Joe Jonas and actress Sophie Turner from Game of Thrones, you all know her. It's for everybody. I mean, people are drawing these and expressing it, and it really challenges you to actually give it a voice and give it a name. And once you do, you kind of recognize when you're in one versus the other. Now, Coach Mike actually challenged me, and I'm going to reveal what I drew and what I named my best in anti-self when we come back. You don't want to miss this. I can't sing, I can't dance, and I can't draw a straight line. But he got me to do this, and so I did my best self and anti-self. First is my best self. All right, I understand it looks like a duck. But this, and I named it Philip. And I named it Philip because Robin calls me Philip. And I am at my best with Robin. So that's my best self. I'm very cerebral. Obviously, I'm very analytical and cerebral, but when I'm with Robin, I'm not that way. She brings out the emotional side, and I'm much more complete when I'm with her. And the drawing, the idea is I'm open-armed. I'm like inviting people to come in. I'm here to help, open-armed. I have a smile on my face. I'm very optimistic, so the sun is out. Birds are flying. There's a frog down there for some, God, I don't know why. There's just a frog down there. And then there's my anti-self. My anti-self is named, Are You Kidding Me, Calvin? Calvin is my middle name, and you notice I have my arms crossed, and I don't suffer fools gladly, I admit. And I think about John McEnroe playing tennis. Are you kidding me? And sometimes I get that way. I realize that I'm impatient. I didn't know how to draw folded arms, but that's what that's supposed to be. So that's my anti-self. Are you kidding me, Calvin? That's not so bad, right? I mean, you can tell. It's like a duck with folded wings, I guess. I don't know. You don't have to be an artist to do this.
And what we were talking about before the show is it's so interesting that we draw the same way we drew when we were younger unless we're trained.
Oh, absolutely. I've been drawing that since 5th grade.
And so and so what it says is that even at a young age, we're able to express ourselves with the same picture, with the same best self and anti-self. And we're now making this for the month of May. We're making it a challenge.
So the Best Self Challenge is designed to get everybody engaged. It's the month of May, is Mental Health Month. What we want you to do is draw your best self and your anti-self and post it on social media and use hashtag Best Self Challenge. And tag 3 friends and tag Coach Mike at Coach Mike Baer. Because we want to see these, and I want to fill these screens with them. So really ask yourself, what is your best self? What is your anti-self? And let's draw them and put them up. I did it. You can do it. And in honor of the challenge, everybody in this audience is going home with a copy of Mike's book. All right? So, all of you millions of people out there around the United States and around the world, because we're on in a lot of countries, I expect to see your best selves on the internet, all on these social. Let's make this a big thing. I want to thank all of my guests today, and of course, Coach Mike. Go to drphil.com for more information about today's show. If you're a fan of podcasts, go subscribe to my podcast, Fill in the Blanks. You can also find more information about the podcast at drfillintheblanks.com. Now, if you love true crime, and I do because I did a year's post